Hi everybody, this is Dan at More Old Stuff. Last week on the resellers meet and greet Wednesday nights, we talked about, Chad talked about reference material for like when you're out picking, what kind of things to look for future collectors, for reselling for future collectors and that kind of stuff. And it was really kind of a cool thing because today I go to an estate sale and I found a bunch of these books, which we talked about, catalogs from the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s to help to look at, see what the styles were and things like that. Well, I happened to find some books. Some of these are not directly related. This one is kind of a cool book on how to be a jewelry detective. I've been thinking about doing some more jewelry stuff. I've been kind of teaching myself, watching some videos, but I found this book on how to basically, deal with jewelry. It's not dated as far as, it's an older book, but it talks about marks, talks about clasps, it talks about some kind of cool things, patent numbers. There's some really neat information in here. So hey, I pay 50 cents for that. That's going to go into my library for jewelry. Here's a neat one. This is costume, American costume from 1915 to 1917. It looks like it was a textbook because someone has highlighted things. So this might have been like a college textbook at one point. And there you go, Indiana University Press. But it goes through styles. It has a lot of drawings, has some photographs in here. This is here 1940s, 1946. But this is the kind of stuff that gives you references to styles. If you're going to do clothing, and like this thing here, you see this jacket, a double-breasted jacket, and you kind of wonder, wow, you look at the labels in it, this 1930s was a 1930s style. There's drawings in here with patterns of different materials, but it gives you an idea as to help date things, to help you recognize. So I'm going to just sit and I'm going to go through these books, and I'm going to try to just, get some of this in my brain so that when I do see this stuff, I'll go, hey, I remember seeing that in the book. Oh, this is cool. There's a swimming suit, one piece black knit bathing suit, sleeveless. This is 1925, 1927. So this is a cool little reference book. So that's probably going to go on. I'll go on my library. This is another good one. The Collectible 70s. Found this book, which was devoted to basically everything from the 70s. I mean, there's ties, there's suits, there's shoes. And any of us who actually lived in the 70s already have some idea, as I remember what the clothing was like, what the dishes were like, what the decor in houses were like. There's that lime green and these yellows, and I had shag carpet in my 1970 Suburban, but anyhow, so this is a good thing for a lot of you who did not live in the 70s and kind of, you've seen it on TV, you've seen, you watch movies or whatever, but there's some stuff here. Now, this has pricing. I buy these books. I ignore this pricing. This pricing probably means nothing now. I don't know when this was printed, but what it does, let's see here, I don't see it, 2001, so yeah, it's like 14 years old. So pricing is going to be totally out of whack on these books. I buy them just for the pictures. I mean, honestly, I go through here, I'll look, and I can use this to reference. It even gives you some the names of who, what the names of the companies were. Here's some dress clothing. This is cool. There you go. You need to get one of those. A nice kind of purplish suit. There's some shirts. So that's a good reference. You kind of go through this, kind of memorize some of the stuff that's in there. Here's another one. This one's a cool book. This is called Radical Rags, Fashions of the 60s. And it's a really thick book, man. It's a big book. So it's got, again, everything from the 60s. Really nice color photographs in here, too. really clear. And I have a feeling again that this was a textbook. I got this from all the same house, so I have a feeling that the person that lived there had been through some college courses or some type of design courses or something like that. And here we go. So I got as many of these books. I got all these books from the same place. There you go, from the 60s. Nice reference material. There you go. Really cool reference material. So it was kind of a coincidence that the fact that we had talked about this, Chad and the group talked about this on his on the resellers meet and greet on Wednesday night, and here we go. I found a whole bunch. Here's another one: vintage clothing from 1880 to 1980. There's another clothing styles, photographs of the time, and all the way back to the 1800s. Now I have found dresses from the 1800s, corsets and things like that that I bought at auction that were barely like they were barely held together because that material was really. But I found some in really good shape, and I've resold those for pretty good money. There's a lot of people who just like to display it, or will actually take it, rework it somehow, and make it wearable, and they'll revive it and get it going again. So there's another cool book. This one came in the batch. Let me just go here first because this is another fashion book, 20th Century Fashion. This is a hardbound book, very cool. That book was $30 when it was new and dated. I don't see a date. And here he goes. You're looking at early 1900s all the way up to 1990. So it's probably from the 90s this book was printed. And there you go, some of the old fashions, drawings, a lot of color drawings. There you go if you're looking for underwear from 85 to 90. There you go, all the different ladies' undergarments. There's some bridal wear, the different fashions. And it just goes back in time here to the 40s, talks about each thing. But so anyhow, that was kind of a neat find, all of these books on fashions and kind of styles of the time for all these different years. You can kind of get an idea when you're looking. This kind of was in there, photographic journey for the first 2 decades of rock and roll. So this was kind of a bonus for me. It's kind of a neat little book. It's all pretty much black and white photos, just the overall history of rock and roll. A lot of bands, a lot of singers. There's Elvis in there. Little blurbs and history about each one of them in here. So it was kind of a cool book. And that kind of came with the batch of stuff. But anyhow, I just did this really quick video only because it was so close to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. And keep an eye out for this kind of stuff to help you reference for your future picks. I'm going to go through these, and as best as my brain can, I'm going to look at styles and get some idea of times and what the era was for the different designs and colors and materials. And when I go picking, whether I'm in you go to estate sales is where you find a lot of this stuff, because a lot of the older people still have some of the stuff from the 60s and 70s in their closet, so you go find that kind of stuff. But anyhow, that's what I got so far. We'll keep on picking and keep on learn all this new stuff.